Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
You are listening to the Brilliance Business Show. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler. Conversations with leading experts in business. And today I have the most incredible guest, Brandy M. Miller. Brandy is the Opportunity Prospector, and our topic today is turning problems into profit. Brandy, welcome to the Brilliance Business Show.
Well, thank you, Mark, for having me on your show. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here with you and your listeners.
I'm really looking forward to a conversation with you today. Before I get started, I just need to make a legal disclaimer that Brandy is not offering legal advice or legal assistance. So let's get started with the show. Brandy, can you share with our listeners a little bit about yourself and your business?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I got started as somebody who helped other people write their books. That's how my business got started. And as I went along the road, helping people get their stories out of their heads and putting them on the page and getting them out into the world, I realized that writing was about way more than just putting words on the page. It was about helping people take problems they'd solved in the past and turn those into books that somebody could use to help solve problems of today. And that's sort of where the turning problems into profits originated. It was this sudden realization that everything in our past, every problem we faced in our past is an opportunity to profit right here, right now, today, because there's somebody out there who needs that solution because they don't have that answer and they're searching for it. And they will happily pay you money if you find them, connect with them, and show them what you have.
I agree totally, Brandy. And for some people, getting a book, it's a hard thing for people to do. Now, I have published 2 books, but a lot of people out there think it's too much or they put it off. What advice do you have to those people, Brandy?
Well, my advice actually is simply to start with 7 basic questions. What is the problem that you're going to help your reader solve? What was your solution to the problem? And how did it change your life for the better? And then go back and look at that. That's the 3-point journey, right? Every book should have the beginning, the middle, and the end. Well, the problem, the solution, and the result, that's the beginning, the middle, and the end of the book. And then in between the problem and the solution, you have to think about what was the mistake in your thinking that was causing you to be unable to solve that problem. What were you stumbling over? What was the truth that you had to embrace before you could find the solution? And what makes that solution different from the solutions that other people may be offering? And if you can answer those things, then you've got that first part of the book covered. And then in the back half, you go through Yeah.
I was just going to say amazing systems, and it's little things like that really make the process so much easier and make it not so much of a mountain to climb. But you carry on. I was listening to you there, Brandy.
Yeah. So in the back half, once you found that solution, though, you know that it's not that easy, right? Just because you know what the solution is doesn't mean you have an easy time implementing it. So then your last half of the book is writing about how you overcame all the obstacles between you and that solution. And once you've done that, you've got the whole book basically outlined. And it's just a matter of writing it. It's just a matter of recording. And literally, you don't have to physically write anything. you can actually record yourself talking about the stories surrounding your journey of solving that problem. And then you upload it to a program like Timmy.com, which will transcribe it for 10 cents a minute and get it done. Obviously you're going to need to go through and edit and correct things, but you don't have to spend exorbitant amounts of money or long periods of time to get a book done. What you do need to do is have a roadmap that you're offering your reader that makes sense and logically walks them through the process of solving their problem.
Who are your customers and what clients do you serve on a daily basis, Brandy?
I actually serve a pretty diverse audience. I usually serve people that are millionaires or multimillionaires because they're the ones that have an idea of what they want to write, but they may not have the time to write it. And they're willing to pay because their time is worth money. So, but as far as serving individuals, I do serve individuals. I mentor them in a group that I have on Facebook called the Write Your Book Group. And we have weekly meetings on Tuesdays from 6 to 7 Central Time, where I just, help them overcome their challenges, and we share different pieces of writing and set accountability goals so that we're making weekly progress, things like that. So I have all kinds of resources available for people, no matter what their money level is, because I don't believe you should ever use money as an excuse for why you didn't achieve your dream.
And that is a great point, and making it accessible to those people who may be having challenges at the moment. You can go out now and get started and writing your story, your message, and serving others with your book and turning your passion into profit. Or I should say, as Brandy would say, turning your problems into profits. Now, Brandy, do you recall a specific aha moment that led to the launch of your business?
Oh, absolutely. There were a couple of them. The first aha moment that came to realize that this could even be a business was in 2016. And I was broke. I was out of work. I was desperate for a way. I had put out for like 100 different jobs and I had gotten no response back. And for me, that was highly unusual. I was usually the kind of person who, if I put a resume out on Friday, the week after I would have a job. And it just wasn't coming. It just wasn't coming. It just wasn't coming. And so I went on the walk and talk with God, which is my go-to for when I have tough problems that I really don't know an answer to. And so I said, well, where are you, big guy? Why aren't you showing up for me? I'm doing everything I can. And I said, what are you doing? And he said, well, I don't know. What are you doing? I said, well, you know what I'm doing. I'm out there putting in for work and I'm not getting any work. And he said, well, how's that story coming along that I asked you to write? And I said, oh, well, he kind of asked me to write my story 7 years before that point. And I had just drug my feet because I really didn't know how to tackle the project. It just seemed so overwhelming. And he said, the problem that you're facing, the reason that you keep failing in business and other ventures that you've tried is that you won't commit. You keep trying to build back doors and bridges and ways out just in case. And instead of having all the energy to focus on succeeding, you're dispersing your energy across all these extra efforts, and it's causing you to fail. He said, I promise you that if you will just commit to doing what I ask you to do, you will succeed on a level you have never succeeded before. And so, I wasn't very gracious with him. I was like, fine. So I'll go home and I start writing my story, but I really don't know where to begin. And so even though I've been writing books, which is funny, right? But your own story can be harder to tackle, not because you don't know your story, but because you know too much of your story. And it's hard to figure out what pieces to put in and what pieces to leave out. So I go home and I get on this Facebook group for writers who are working through the challenge of writing a book. And one lady goes, hey, is there anybody out there who can help me write my story? Now, of course, I have been working on, at that point, a system that would allow me to help people write their books very efficiently. It was not this current system of turning problems into profits, but it was the precursor to it. And so I said, sure, I can help you. Give me an hour and I'll help you get your story outlined and down. By the time I finished with her hour, she was like, so how much would you charge me to write my book for me? And I didn't know what to tell her. So I hop on Google and I enter how much does the average ghostwriter charge? And the answer I got back was $35,000. And my jaw just dropped because that was like a year's pay in any of the jobs I'd ever worked. Exactly. And so this was the aha moment where I was like, there are people who will pay $35,000 for me to put words on a paper? Wow. Now, I didn't know enough about the industry or about business at this point in time to know how to put together an effective package for her. I put one together based on what I would have wanted rather than knowing what she needed. So I came back and I did not get $35,000. I did get 10% of that, which was the most I'd ever sold in my entire life. And we started that book on February 6th, and I finished it on March 6th, gave it back to her for editing. And that was the start of me working with people writing their books, because that was the start of me realizing that there were people who needed that service and would happily pay good money for getting it done. It took me a few years of working on myself internally before I got to the point where I was regularly able to command the 4-figure and bump up higher. But that's a process of working through your own inner demons. The truth is about most of the obstacles in business is they're not external to you, they're internal. They're all the money blocks you have. The beliefs about money that, like for instance, when I first started working, I really thought the difference between rich and poor was the bank account. And then I realized as I went on my journey to building a business that that's not the difference at all. That's just like the symptom of the difference between the rich and the poor. The difference between the rich and the poor is that the rich know the value that they have to offer other people. They know what it's worth. They know how to package it and present it so that other people can recognize that value. And that's the big difference. The poor have mountains of value inside of them, trapped inside of them. They just don't know the value they have. They don't know how to get it out of themselves. They don't know how to mine it, refine it, package it, and present it. And so it's sitting there doing them and everybody else no good. And that was another reason I wrote my book, Turning Problems into Profits.
Just a beautiful story.
Thank you. Yeah, and then last March was my biggest aha moment to date. It was, I woke up literally on a Saturday morning, grinning from ear to ear, going, I have problems. I have problems. It was the most exciting thing ever, because I realized every problem I'd ever faced in the past was my opportunity to profit today. And all the problems that I didn't know how to solve today were opportunities to profit tomorrow. So I was never going to run out of problems, but I was also never going to run out of opportunities to profit. I mean, if you can think about your life, you probably solved at least 10,000 problems in a single lifetime. Imagine being able to stick a tap in each of those problems, turn them on, and start making money from them. That's how rich you could be.
I agree with you totally, Brandy. I think everything you have said with when you commit to something, that's when you start to get the results. And I have had to learn that myself through my own personal development journey. And also, I remember that feeling a couple of years ago, getting your first real paying client coming in. And that's when things start to change, because you get that little bit of belief, and then each time you make a sale, the belief gets stronger and you keep on getting those results. Now, I have a question for you, Brandy. What I want to know, what really motivates you to jump out of bed every single morning?
The fact that I know that there are people who need me out there. And that when I don't show up and I don't share what's in me, they don't get the help they need. I truly am motivated by people needing me. I had to realize that a few weeks ago, is that I don't get motivated by money. I get motivated by seeing people in need and knowing that I have an answer that can help them. That's what really drives me.
That is a beautiful answer. So tell us, Brandy, what sets your business apart and what unique need are you filling for your customers?
Well, what really sets my business apart is the stir that I bring. There are plenty of people out there who will tell you that your problems are profitable, or that your problems are, are opportunities in disguise. But it took me working through my own to figure out how to create a system that would work for anybody to be able to turn their problem into a profit. Because it's really easy for somebody who was rich already, or who was successful already, to sit there and say, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. But for somebody who's coming from a poverty background, that's not necessarily the case. They may not have access to those tools and resources that the person who was affluent in the beginning takes for granted. So mine, coming from having written the Poverty Diaries in 2014, after decades of struggling with poverty, gives me that ability to provide somebody that step-by-step system that they can work no matter what they've got or don't have. As long as you have an internet connection, the ability to get onto Facebook, and the ability to communicate with other people and serve them, you have the ability to work this system.
I absolutely love what you're doing, Brandy. I can tell it comes straight from your heart. You've had the struggles, you have overcome those struggles, and that's how you can inspire others and really transform their businesses as well. Why is your service especially important in today's modern world?
Well, in today's modern world right now, with everybody shut down, there are a lot of people who are losing hope. They think, I can't go to work, I can't get a job, I can't meet my bills, I have nothing to work with. But if you look inside of yourself and you look at your past, you're going to see that there's so much inside of you that's valuable and precious, and that somebody out there needs. If somebody out there may literally be dying to get what's inside of you. Like, I know a little bit about your story, Mark, because you shared it with us at the Leap and Shine conference. And I know that there was a point in time where you were killing yourself with drugs. And, how you overcame that is a story that somebody out there is desperately wanting to hear. They need to hear that they have hope for a future, that just because they're stuck in that moment doesn't mean they're stuck there forever. And we often can't see hope. I was 23 when I got to this point where I was so beaten down by poverty, and I just didn't see any hope for a better future. And I was literally sitting there at the kitchen table asking myself just how many pills it was going to take for not have to ever hurt this way again. And I looked over at my 3-year-old son and I thought, well, if I'm going out, I don't want to leave him to face this alone. And I actively thought about taking him with me on that day. And if not for him, and if not for the moment of recognizing, oh my God, I just thought about killing my own son, that's what snapped me out of it. And that's what got me to realize that, you know what? He was worth fighting for. Even if I didn't feel I was, he was worth fighting for. So find something that is worth fighting for and pick up your sword and your shield and put on your armor and go out there and fight another day. And so I did. And because I had my son, though, I had something to look to give me that motivation to move forward. So I'm here to tell you, if you're out there feeling hopeless and feeling helpless and feeling powerless to change the way things are, you are not. You have a mountain of gold hidden within you. You just need to dig for it.
I just love what you're about, Brandy. You're true inspiration. You have an amazing story. I would like to know, can you share more detail of the kinds of services and products that you offer?
Well, I have 8 published books. Three of the titles four actually now, 3 of the titles are on writing. One of them is about this business system, the turning problems into profits. The first published book I had was How to Write an Ebook in 40 Days or Less. And I'm working on creating a revised version of that called Writing Problems into Profits. So it's more about taking the problem and actually writing a book, because a book is the beginning of a business. It's J.K. Rowling didn't get to be a billionaire by writing a bestseller. She didn't get to be a billionaire by writing 7 bestsellers. She got to be a billionaire by all the things that she did with those books to adapt them to different formats that served her customers in new and different ways. And that's kind of what you have to do if you want. The book is the foundation, and it'll give you the system, it'll give you the thought process, it'll give you all the things that you need to teach and all the things that you want people to learn, but don't stop with the book. And so kind of that's what I help them do, is I help them put together the systems and the strategies that will help them build successful businesses that move outward. So basically I offer coaching, consulting, training, and assistance with writing and publishing books.
Amazing. And I would imagine you have so many client success stories. Can you just share?
I do, but unfortunately, kind of I'm a ghostwriter, so I can't.
I want you to just share one.
As a ghostwriter, it's sort of a sticky situation.
Story.
Well, I will. I had a client come to me, and I took this client on pro bono, which I will occasionally do if the situation is warrants it. I took her on pro bono. She was working a nonprofit in Malaysia that helps women in prostitution get off the streets. And she needed a book to help her get publicity and to help her get funding so that she could reach more people and share her own journey of being forced into prostitution and then getting off the streets. And so I took her on and helped her, and it really did help her nonprofit pull in money that she otherwise wouldn't have been able to. And she was able to turn the problem, the past of her problem, into a problem that could then benefit the women that she served and give them hope. Because, that's part of the power of your story, is it shows people that there's light at the end of the tunnel.
I agree. That is such an amazing story, Brandy, and that could just keep on leading to better and better circumstances, and that book could serve and help so many people. I just love a success story. How do clients typically hear about you, and are there certain life moments that usually lead to them seeking you out?
Well, usually people hear about me through word of mouth. Like somebody that I've served in the past will tell somebody else about me. And that's how I usually get a lot of my clients. But I have started doing more speaking engagements and more stepping out of my own comfort zone and stepping out on stages like the Leap and Shine conference, and then most recently at a Las Vegas Writers Conference. And so in teaching people in those conferences things that will help them.
Well, I was lucky to meet you in London at the Leap and Shine conference. You have amazing energy. You're really uplifting. You come from the heart, and that really shows. And how amazing visiting Las Vegas. That's one I want to do, Brandy. I'm jealous. And I really
I will be sure to introduce you to the right people.
Well, it's all about connection, so please help me turn a problem into a profit in Las Vegas. I've thoroughly enjoyed a conversation with you today. Can you share with our audience and our listeners, how can people connect with you? How can people reach out to you?
Absolutely. I have a website. I have two websites, actually. The one for the Opportunity Prospector is just that, theopportunityprospector.com. And that's where they can find my Turning Problems into Profits book and get more information on the coaching and consulting that I offer. And then I also have Write Your Book Taught Today. And that's more focused on the writing journey and what they need to do to get their book written. I am also on Facebook. If you want to friend me, it's Brandy M. Miller 1975. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter with @WriterBrandy. If you want to email me, it's brandy@theopportunityprospector.com. Pretty much, if they Google me, they'll find me. It's not hard.
Everyone, reach out to Brandy M. Miller. If you are thinking of writing a book and you've been putting it off, if you have a story to share, even if you've got real problems that you want to share to help and serve others, or like she said, you may be high profile, earning a lot of money, but you haven't got the time, Brandy M. Miller, reach out to her. Brandy, thank you so much for being on the Brilliance Business Show.
Well, thank you so much, Mark, for inviting me to be on here and inviting me to share my story with your listeners. I truly am honored and very much appreciate the opportunity.
It's been my pleasure. You have been listening to the Brilliance Business Show, conversations with leading experts in business.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.